Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of English Chat with John and Emma. I'm so happy you're here because today, we're going to talk about something that can instantly make your English sound more fluent, natural, and expressive. We're talking about idioms. Now, if you've been learning English for a while, you've probably noticed that native speakers don't always say exactly what they mean. Instead, they use all sorts of weird and creative expressions that don't make much sense if you take them literally. For example, have you ever heard someone say, break a leg before an important event? If you didn't know the meaning, you might think, wait. What? Why would you tell me to hurt myself? But in reality, it actually means good luck. That's the thing about idioms, they're fun, colorful, and really common in everyday conversations. You'll hear them in movies, TV shows, at work, in casual chats with friends. Everywhere. But if you don't understand them, it can feel like people are speaking in code, and you're left wondering, what are they even talking about? Trust me, I've been there. When I was learning Spanish, I remember hearing someone say, throw the house out the window, and I just froze. I was like, why would anyone throw their house out the window? But of course, it just meant to celebrate in a big way. Every language has its own set of idioms, and English is no exception. That's why today, I'm going to walk you through 10 of the most common English idioms, the ones that native speakers use all the time. And I won't just give you definitions, I'll tell you the stories behind them, show you how to use them in real-life conversations, and even share some funny personal experiences to help you remember them better. By the end of this episode, you'll not only understand these idioms, but you'll also be able to use them naturally in your own conversations, which will help you sound much more fluent and confident in English. So, whether you're learning English for work, school, travel, or just for fun, this episode is for you. Grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and get ready to add some personality to your English with these amazing idioms. Let's jump right in. Hey everyone! Welcome back to another episode of English Chat with John and Emma. Today, we have a really exciting topic that will help make your English sound much more natural. We're talking about idioms.
Yes. And idioms can be tricky because if you translate them literally, they don't make much sense. Like, imagine hearing someone say, oh, break a leg, before an important event. You might be thinking, wait, why would they say something so mean? But actually, it means something completely different.
Right. Break a leg is actually a way of saying good luck. It's something people say, especially before a big performance or an important event. Instead of saying, I hope you do well, people just say, break a leg. It's kind of funny because it sounds negative, but it's actually really positive.
Yeah, and you know what? The first time I heard this idiom, I was so confused. My friend texted me break a leg before a job interview, and I was like, wait. Does she hate me? I almost got mad before I realized she was just wishing me luck. It was so funny because she had to explain that it's actually a good thing.
That's such a classic language learning moment. Sometimes English can be so weird. And you know what? I think I read somewhere that this idiom comes from the theater world, where saying good luck was considered bad luck. So, instead, they started saying the opposite, break a leg, kind of like a superstition.
That makes sense. I guess it's like how in some cultures people say something bad to protect you from bad luck. Either way, if someone tells you to break a leg, don't worry, they just want you to do well.
Alright, moving on. Have you ever heard someone say, I'm so tired, I'm going to hit the sack? The first time I heard this, I was picturing someone actually punching a sack of something, like a bag of rice. But no, it actually just means go to sleep.
Yeah, and I think this idiom comes from the old days when people didn't have fancy mattresses. They literally slept on sacks filled with hay or straw. So when they were tired, they would hit the sack and go to bed. But today, we still use it as a casual way to say, I'm going to sleep now.
Exactly. Like after a long day, you might say, I'm exhausted, I'm gonna hit the sack early tonight. Or if you're at a sleepover and your friend says, hey, I'm too tired to stay up, I need to hit the sack, they just mean they're going to sleep. It's such a natural phrase in everyday English.
Okay, now let's talk about another funny one, spill the beans. This means to reveal a secret, sometimes by accident, sometimes on purpose. And I just love the visual image of this, like someone holding a big bag of beans and then dropping them everywhere. It's kind of silly, but the meaning is really useful.
Yeah. Like if your friend is hiding something from you, and you really want to know, you might say, "Come on, spill the beans. What's the big secret?" It's a fun and casual way of asking someone to tell you something. And honestly, I think we all know someone who just can't keep a secret, no matter how hard they try, they always end up spilling the beans.
Oh my gosh, that totally reminds me of this one time I spilled the beans by accident. So, my sister was planning a surprise party for our mom, and she told me not to say anything. But then, like 2 days before the party, I was talking to my mom and I said, "Oh, you're gonna love your party on Saturday." And the moment the words left my mouth, I realized what I had done. I had completely ruined the surprise.
No. That's the worst feeling. It's like the second you say it, you want to take it back, but it's too late. You've already spilled the beans.
Exactly. My mom just looked at me and laughed, but I felt so bad. After that, my sister never told me any more surprises because she didn't trust me.
Ha, I don't blame her. Okay, so this next idiom is kind of similar, let the cat out of the bag. It also means to reveal a secret, usually by accident. I think it comes from old marketplaces where people would sell pigs in bags, and sometimes, dishonest sellers would try to trick customers by putting a cat in the bag instead of a pig. If someone opened the bag and found a cat, the trick was exposed, the cat was literally let out of the bag.
That is such a weird story, but it totally makes sense. So today, when we say someone let the cat out of the bag, we just mean they accidentally told a secret before they were supposed to. Like, if your friend is getting engaged but hasn't told anyone yet, and you accidentally say, "Oh, I can't wait for your wedding." Oops. You just let the cat out of the bag.
Exactly. And once the cat is out, there's no putting it back in. The secret is out forever. That's why you have to be really careful when you know something important, you don't want to let the cat out of the bag too soon.
Oh, speaking of things that are difficult, let's talk about the next idiom, bite the bullet. This means to do something unpleasant or difficult, even though you don't want to. It comes from the old days when soldiers had to go through painful medical treatments without anesthesia. They were given a bullet to bite down on to help them deal with the pain. Can you imagine how tough that must have been?
Wow, that is intense. But yeah, today we use it in a more casual way. Like if you don't want to do your homework but you know you have to, you can say, "I guess I just have to bite the bullet and get it done." It's a way of saying, "I don't want to do this, but I will because I have to."
Yeah, like I hate going to the dentist, but last month I finally had to bite the bullet and make an appointment. I was so nervous, but it wasn't even that bad in the end. Sometimes we just have to push through things we don't like.
So true. And speaking of not feeling great, have you ever heard someone say, "I'm feeling under the weather"? It doesn't mean they're standing outside in the rain, it just means they're sick or not feeling well. It's a polite way of saying, "I'm not feeling my best today."
I love this phrase because it's so useful. Instead of saying, "I am sick," which sounds a little harsh, you can say, "I'm feeling under the weather today." It's something people say when they have a cold or when they're just feeling a little off.
Exactly. Like, if your friend asks why you missed class, you can just say, "I was feeling under the weather." It's a simple and natural way to explain that you weren't feeling great.
Alright, we still have a few more idioms to talk about, but let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about piece of cake, hit the nail on the head, and the ball is in your court. Stay with us.